Okay, Mr. Barrett.
Okay, we're set to begin any moment now. Just a quick housekeeping reminder for folks to please keep your microphones on mute. I'm going to move through this brief community update on COVID-19, our community health, and give you the latest numbers in each one of our buildings. Update you on the latest mandates from both the Pennsylvania Department of Education, Health, Governor's Office, and the latest ruling from the PA Supreme Court based on the governor's appeal that just came out at 5:42, just shortly about 18 minutes ago. So I'm just going to begin by giving you a brief update on each one of our buildings. Since we returned to school, we began tracking every single positive case within the Hanover Area School District. We have had 4 cases at Hanover Green Elementary School. We've had 10 cases at Lee Park, 10 at Memorial Elementary School, 11 cases at Linwood Elementary School, and 39 cases at our junior senior high. All of these were reported as of today. Today we included the 4 positive cases that we were reported today. So it's up to the minute for each one of you. I would like to take a look at the start of school with the members on this call this evening. You're going to see that the yellow is our latest numbers. As you see that whatever we're doing seems to be working. Mitigation strategies. I'm very grateful for the parents sending students with their masks. The use of our desk shields seem to be working. As you see, all of our numbers continue to decline. So if you have seen the news over the last several days, that some schools are shutting down to the rapid spread and transmission in local schools within Luzerne County, I'm pleased to say that our numbers still continue to steadily decline. I hope that it stays that way. It's not to say that it may not change tomorrow, but I'm happy to report that to this community. Our next slide. As I mentioned to you at the beginning of this call, the January 17th mask mandate lift that Governor Wolf had instilled back in October, or well, back at the beginning of the school year, was challenged in Commonwealth Court back in October, which was then sent to appellate court, which was overturned today at 5:42, which makes the mask mandate from the governor unconstitutional. And as a result, the state is mandating, the judge in the Supreme Court is mandating that the mask mandate be lifted on December the 4th. It's not listed in there because, as I mentioned, it just came out, the ruling just came out at 5:42 p.m. just a short time ago. So as a result, that lift comes back. And if you take a peek at the bottom, let's see here, where are we at? The Ms. Kitchen, could you, okay, it's the third point. It's the third bullet point. If the mask mandate were lifted prior to the 17th, it's going to revert back to the third bullet point here, revert back to the PA Department of Education approved health and safety plans by the Hanover Area School District. So we're going to revert back to our health and safety plan, which is easy for everybody on this call and easy for every parent within our district because nothing changes. We have a mask mandate in place. We revert back to our health and safety plan. So absolutely nothing changes, zero, until we get till the end of this calendar year. So you'll see the second bullet point is moot at this point because we are awaiting the appeal process, which just was overturned at 5:42. And then if you take a peek, folks, at this last bullet point, which is the Hanover Area School District will host a community night shortly after the holiday break, revisiting our community plan with the use of masks in our district. So that's obviously going to change. So right before the holiday, I will revisit this, check out our community and transmission rates, and I will bring all of us back together to create a plan for just after the first of the year. So I hope that answers questions. So right now, we're still in a mask mandate situation until the end of the calendar year. We can move to the next slide, please. As you know, we are the shots are now available for our students 5 to 11 years old. If anybody needs any information, please contact the school. We would be more than happy to give you some local locations. Pediatrics Associates of Kingston consistently has these shots readily available for 5 to 18 years old and adults alike. So if anybody needs any information, please simply contact the school. The next is the self-reporting link. We are, this is if you feel that or if you have a positive case within your household, we ask you to log on to our website and self-report. This way we know we can start doing our contact tracing and report to anybody that was considered a close contact and or the teacher within that classroom or anyone within close contact for more than 15 minutes of exposure. Ms. Kitchen, did we miss one slide there? Was that the testing of it? Yes. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, folks. We're happy to we are very pleased to announce that our medical staff, all of our school nurses, have been trained in the antigen testing. So I know a major sticking point for folks that are on this call is that when we contact families and we tell them that they have been considered a close contact, to get testing, folks may need to take a day off of work, and it becomes an inconvenience to your work schedules and just a difficulty of getting your child the test in a rapid form. So what we have done is we have, to make your lives easier, we have trained our staff that before we dismiss these students, we have the availability to test these students, and it's a rapid antigen test. And if you look at the last bullet point, this is a method of detecting the SARS molecule, the SARS disease, which is known for causing COVID-19. So this would pick up, and then we would recommend you go for a further in-depth test by your medical provider. But this is a clear indication that you have, that your child may have a part of the virus. And we have this available to you now prior to dismissing those students before a quarantine to let you know whether your student needs to be tested further, or even if you just feel that you want your student tested, this is available to you. Just so everybody knows this, if you have a student that's an athlete, you don't want them competing without knowing whether they're going to go onto a wrestling mat or into a basketball competition, we are now trained and we have the inventory of tests available to members of our community. And by week's end, we're going to have the consent form. We're awaiting that. And once we have that, you simply fill out the consent form, and then we will contact you and pull your student and have our medical staff give them the antigen test, which would be a preliminary test, which would give you an idea as to whether you need further examination or not. So we'll jump back down, Mrs. Kitchen, to if you did choose to get your 5 to 11-year-old or your 11 through 8 or 12 through 18-year-old student vaccinated, please make sure that you're communicating with the school district. The vaccination declaration and where this comes into play, I'm just going to refresh your memory because we've done these in the other two community nights previous to this, is that this is going to be the difference between quarantining your student and simply recommending a test, or and having to miss school, or whether the student could be present and simply recommended for a test. So remember, the overall goal of what we're trying to do with these masks and these desk shields, ladies and gentlemen, is to avoid any time out of the buildings. So the major portion of this learning loss that we're trying to make up for over the last 18 months has been because we were not in the buildings. So every mitigation strategy that we are trying and everything we're trying to do here that I'm explaining this evening in our 2 previous COVID-19 updates is simply trying to keep our kids in the classroom and in our seats, okay? The next thing is just this is a refresher. We've gone over this before. We are still in a level 1. This level 1 is a full return of students with the use of masks and desk shields. And levels 2 and 3, we hope we never reach. Level 2, reminder, this would be shifting to a yellow, excuse me, would be to reinstate the hybrid model, which would be half of the student body in the building, half out, to minimize the risk of transmission by 50%. We are not there. We are not headed there. We are not in any type of danger of going there. We are still in level 1. And then the final piece would be a level 3 that would be fully remote. And that would be if we had an alarming more than 10% of our population in one particular building, or all buildings for that matter, were testing positive. So if you saw on the news recently over the last 3 days, there are districts in Luzerne County that are at a level 3. So again, I want to thank all of you on here for sending students with masks, because whatever we're doing is obviously working. Reporting single digits of positive cases a week, whereas we have surrounding districts that are shutting down due to 10% of their population being positive or quarantined. So the next slide. Again, please keep, this is just reminders. We've gone over this before as we begin to conclude our update here. Just if students have a cold, if they have a cough, whatever it might be, keep the children home. We could switch to Google Classroom. If you need be, a simple phone call, simple email, we just flip the switch of a Google Classroom in order to mitigate the spread of the common cold or COVID-19. So please make sure that you're sending children to school with masks. Please communicate with us vaccination declarations. Submit the form online if you have a positive case, and then we will contact all the close contacts and the household contacts. We will begin our contact tracing piece. And please always encourage children to remain safe. Again, I'll just remind you some of the mitigation and proactivity strategies by the Hanover Area School District. We do sanitize each and every bus in between each and every run. We do share buses. So when we drop off at high school, we then go to Memorial and Linwood, and we continue to repeat that process using the same buses as we trickle down from the high school all the way down to our lowest grades. So we use the same buses. As a result, we sanitize the buses in between every run. We do regular testing of our unvaccinated staff. Then we are also asking now for people to voluntarily sign up for the antigen testing. As I told you earlier, where we're going to have the consent forms this week. We have desk shields. The only time for possible exposure would be 15 minutes of unmasked mask time. And we are all in accordance with this protocol, where the students bring their desk shields to the cafeteria. When they bring down their mask, they still put a barrier between them, which is their desk shield. It's just an added layer of protection, so they're not able to communicate unprotected with other students. And hopefully, and it appears to still be working. Staying home when sick, getting tested, and the Hanover Area School District has a seating chart for everything. I know there was a couple instances where folks were wondering why they were not to be unmasked during recess. It's very difficult for us to track close contacts for more than 15 minutes as students run around if they have their mask down, because we have seating charts every place your child is, so that we could assure we're giving you accurate information when we're close contact and contact tracing. Okay. Next thing. Again, as I said, and I mentioned to you 1 or 2 times before in this update, The only time that, according to CDC, is telling the transmission is 15 minutes or more of unprotected time with the mask. So the only time your child should be without a mask is during the lunch period. We strictly do enforce this, but then we also, as I told you, have an added layer of protection by adding the trifold desk shield in between them and other students. So, we have our maintenance and custodial staff constantly cleaning high touch points, light switches, doorknobs, you name it. There is sheets that we go in, and the maintenance and custodial staff sign off the times that they go in to assure that it's happened regularly. Also, something that we just put on our website so everybody feels comfortable with is the air filtration system and the filters that we change them regularly in each classroom. That is now available on our website for each one of you to check out, that how regularly we change the filters that go into each and every classroom within our district. So I want you to feel comfortable that there is proactivity and we are cognizant of the importance of changing filters in each and every classroom within our district. These are some vaccination sites that I had mentioned to you earlier. And now I just simply open this up to community members, and we have a quick question and answer session, and hopefully I can answer it and put everybody's mind at ease. Please touch the raise your hand icon at the bottom, and then we'll begin.
Jessica?
Jessica. Jessica, you're on mute, okay?
Am I good now?
Good now. Yep.
All right. Hi, Mr. Barrett. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good,
Nice
thanks.
talking to you.
Just have a quick question. As far as at the high school during lunch, are there assigned seats?
There are assigned seats. Yes.
Okay. I'm getting information from my daughter that it's not being followed.
Okay.
She keeps getting kicked out of her seat where she's supposed to be sitting.
What grade, madam?
She is in 8th.
8th grade.
And it's
Right.
starting to become an everyday occurrence.
Okay.
And I mean, I agree with the assigned seating, which is fine.
Okay.
But like I said, I know the other day, they were, like she had her bag sitting there on her seat and somebody just randomly came over and threw her bag on the floor next to her, which going to that has a Chromebook in it.
Hmm.
So there's, like I said, it's starting to become an everyday issue now to where she's not in her seat where she's supposed to be.
I could assure you this will be checked on.
Okay, thank you. That was
Handled.
all I had.
Thank you. It was nice talking to you.
You too. Thank you.
Michelle?
This is actually her husband. I have a question. I have 2 children that are between the ages of 5 and 11, and they're getting vaccinated. Once they're fully vaccinated, do they have to still wear their masks within school?
They do. They do. And it still could be transmitted. It just gives them that added layer of protection, and also it could eliminate the possibility of a quarantine.
Okay.
All right. But
All right,
I
thank you.
appreciate you. I appreciate you and commend you on getting them vaccinated. Thank you, sir.
Candace?
Hi, good afternoon or good evening. I just have a quick question. What is going to be the mask mandate or the COVID regulations for the indoor winter sports such as basketball?
So
Spectators.
all for spectators?
Yeah, I know last year we had to wear masks and it was limited.
Yes. So I just want to clarify. Did you say for spectators or for the athletes themselves?
Well, both.
Okay. All right. So right now, currently, we are mandating that all athletes wear masks during practice and while sitting on the bench as they enter into the competition. Let's use basketball as an example. As they go out on the floor, PIAA is now allowing them to take the masks off and go out on the floor. The only people that would still remain in the masks are the coach and the students on the bench. As of right now, PIAA is mandating that we have masks on folks in the stands as well. But keep in mind, as I mentioned to you, at 5:42 this evening, we had a mask mandate overturned. So I don't want to give you inaccurate information right now. So perhaps you're obviously a parent of an athlete, correct?
Yes, my son plays basketball.
Okay, so let's do this. As this unfolds, because again, like I have about a half hour, I have about 40 minutes ago this happened. So if you could allow me to peel the layers back tomorrow, I will have our athletic director reach out into the athletic communities and let them know what this looks like now for the spectators and the athletes. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. My main question was really, last year you were only allowed two
that's-
spectators per student. You know what I mean? Per
Yeah,
athlete.
that's different now. No, that's going to be lifted. That's not going to be that restrictive.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Candace.
Are there any other questions? Scott?
Hi, Mr. Barrett.
Hi, Scott.
I just wanted some clarification on something that you went over in the meeting, which
Sure.
I kind of wasn't under that impression. I was under the impression that if a child had to quarantine, then they could do the Google Classroom. But
Yes.
I was not aware if like I kept my daughter home for a common cold for a couple days, which has happened this year, and she kind of struggled to get caught back up.
Mhm.
I was not aware that she could have attended Google Classroom for them days.
So let me clarify. I'm glad you brought this up because this might be somebody else's question too. If your child has a sickness that is an extended period, to go in and we're not going to have teachers and yourself go in and ask for Google Classroom to be the light switch to be flipped on. If it's a single isolated incident there, but if you're talking about a prolonged period of time, they're going to be out for the week, they're going to be out, 3 days or more, that I would start to take a look at reaching out to the school and utilizing that option for yourself. I can't tell you that there's a barometer one way or the other that I would say if it's 3 days or more. I'm just saying to you is that it is an option for you to utilize and say, listen, my students spiking a fever up and down, I'm going to keep them out the week, and that's your discretion. You could try to utilize that option. It has to be associated with a medical excuse. We can't just start exercising this option at will. But if there is a medical excuse associated with this, that's being proactive and being protective of both your child and all the classmates and the teacher within that building, I would ask you to exercise that option. So I'm sorry I didn't clarify that before, and I'm sorry I didn't clarify it enough.
Thank you.
Is that a little more clear, Scott? Did I touch base enough for you?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was 3 days she was out, and it was a cold. She had to get the COVID test for those results and everything. So, but we got her all caught up when she returned to school. It was just there was 3 days worth of work to catch up, and it was a pretty lot.
Got it. Understood.
Bill?
Yeah, I just want to go back to the basketball example again. If the PIAA is not requiring the masks in the game, and you have kids from multiple schools competing against each other, why then do the kids have to wear masks while they're practicing when they're just within their own school district?
So I'm sorry, then I wasn't clear enough. Our policy right now is that our students are wearing masks during practice and masks are on the bench during competition with the exception as they go out. The PIAA is mindful of the referees. The referees protection is that folks are wearing masks to limit the referees' exposures. So that has been the sticking point for a period of time on the PIAA's enforcement. So for us, for me, I want our students wearing masks right now because evidently they're working based on our numbers in comparison with others in the Wyoming Valley. So for me, I would like to still have them utilizing masks, but for the PIAA, they have a whole different set of rules. But so I clarify on December the 4th, when the mask mandate is lifted, I don't know what that's going to look like for our ability to enforce parents. I could still have students who are representing the school wearing masks on the bench. But as far as adults that are coming into the building, I don't have that answer now after this was lifted. Did I answer that, or it seemed like I'm dancing around it? I'm not sure if I answered.
Yeah, I was just wondering if they don't have to wear the masks while they're playing in the game, against they're playing with the kids from their own school against kids from other schools where their exposures might be a little greater than normal.
Sure.
Why do they need to wear them when they're just practicing with their own kids, kids from their own school, if it's not mandated?
Okay, so all right, so now I understand a little bit better. So it is actually the policy of the home school. So if somebody comes to Hanover and they're playing today, let's say right now we're going to use this as an example. It's not December 4th yet. So they come, everybody on the bench needs to be wearing a mask with the exception out on in the competitive action. So so it's the policy of the hosting district. Does that make more sense, Bill?
Not really. I'm still hung up on the fact that if they don't have to wear them in the game, why do they need to wear them at the practice? I guess.
Well,
because I'm thinking their exposure is greater in the game than it is just in practice. So why do they have to wear them at practice if they don't have to wear them in the game?
okay, so for my limited medical, and forgive me if this is not a fantastic answer, but again, it's the 15 minutes of unprotected time with folks that are infected. So your chance of sitting on the bench, okay, next to somebody idle, you're sitting next to one person. That one person is next to you. The ability for transmission is much greater because it's static. You're next to that person as the game in the competition is constantly moving. I don't know, I'm not, it's not the best answer, but the ability to be exposed to the person for 15 minutes statically, I think is limited. That's the rationale that I think I'm seeing of the unprotected time for 15 minutes or more. Whether that's a sufficient answer, I'm not sure. But my rationale is I want them on the bench wearing masks because I know it's going to be more than 15 minutes of close contact.
Okay, but my concern was more, not necessarily a concern, but my question was more about why they have to wear them at practice. Because practice is going to be similar to a game where they're running around and they're not necessarily standing next to them for 15 minutes. So, my question was really geared more to why they have to be wearing them at practice.
Right.
And Mr. Barrett, Mike
Yes.
McCray, the AD. So right now, as our last AD meeting, every team in the Wyoming Valley Conference is masking up in practice. And the main reason, if a kid gets COVID at practice, the whole program shut down. No ifs, ands, or buts. This is why with practice, wearing masks, we don't have to worry about that. There's no contact tracing. They're masked up. In the game, obviously, you have to worry about the 5 kids, on the court or the 1 kid's on the wrestling match. With other things right now, some schools may limit the fans still, but everything could change with the mask. And, you know, I'll have more information right now. But, you know, we've had no issues. The coaches are on board. You know, if the kids need a break because the masks are hot, you know, they're going to let them lower it for a couple minutes and catch their breath. But we haven't had one issue. And I think the kids and the coaches want to get the season in. And I don't think they're really too concerned, you know, about wearing the masks.
All right, fair enough. Thank you.
Bill, does that answer it?
Yes, thank you. I
Okay.
said fair enough. Yep. Okay.
Penny Lee,
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is just going back to the Google Classroom when students are out. My son was out, he was quarantined for 10 days because he tested positive. I emailed all his teachers to let them know that he would be out, and every single one of the teachers responded and put all his classwork on his Google Classroom for him. So near future, if anybody tests positive in their home, just email the teachers and they get right back to you and put all their work in the, Google Classroom. I'm sorry, I lost my breath there.
That's great to hear. I'm
Yeah.
very happy to hear that.
Yeah, so it just makes it easier. Just email the teachers, tell them that they're out, and they get right back to you, and then it's all in the Google Classroom. I had no problems. He didn't have to get caught up to back with any schoolwork when he got back. Naturally, besides the test that he had to make up, but they also sent that too, so we were able to study for that. So it wasn't hard at all.
That's great to hear, Penny. Thank you.
You're welcome.
okay, Mr. Barrett, I don't think we have any more questions.
Okay, folks, I really thank you for coming on here. Again, we'll try to host this once a month. And the next one is going to be about the continuation or not of a mask mandate within the district. But again, for those folks that have been helping us out and really paying close attention to masking your students up in the desk shields, this has been great. Where our numbers are holding strong. So thank you so much. Everybody have a wonderful night.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Take care. Thanks, Jessica.